sunshine. Let's go ahead and start. Nice, starting to pick up per usual for this time of day. This is on the 8 in both directions right at Lake Murray. Again, this is typical for this time of the day. This is the 5 in both directions coming in from East Street as you make your way towards that 54 connector. All right, we are tracking a crash. Look out for this. This is in Escondido on the 15 South right at Gopher Canyon. Likely going to cause some slowing as you make your way down to Hidden Meadows. As we take a look at your travel times, we're still all in the green. Matches that theory that likely people are going to be working from home today as they usually do on a Friday, 10 to 15 to get you northbound coming in from National City as well as Chula Vista. Back to you guys.
Conditions looks like a nice start to the day there.
Yeah, it is. Again, I assure you it's probably going to be very quiet. I have this theory and I stick to it. Friday is the day that a lot of people work from home. So it's likely going to be fairly light across the board throughout the morning. That was the 805 in both directions right at Division. This is what it looks like coming in from Lake Murray. In fact, the right side of your screen is that drive as you head west towards the college area. And this is that drive on the 5 in both directions. Right side of your screen is northbound as you make your way towards the 15 on-ramp. Let's go ahead and pull up incidents. We have one that we're tracking in the North County in the Center Divide. This is in Escondido on the 15 South right at Gopher Canyon. Could slow things down for you if, let's say, you're headed in from Fallbrook, Rainbow, even Temecula via the 15 South passing the 76. Here, travel times about 10 to 15 headed north. Coming up a little later, we'll take a look at what the rest of the travel times have in store. Back to you guys. From 6:12 is the time. Things are really quiet, but I assure you this is going to be a completely different picture this weekend. We've been talking about that closure. Chris Grow has been covering it, happening around the evening hours on the 5, just near the Sorrento Valley area. So you want to opt for the 805, especially if you're traveling at night. Right now, things are pretty quiet, though, on the 5 in both directions right at Genesee. Let's go ahead and switch gears a little more north. This is the 78 in both directions right at Nordal. Coming at your screen is that drive as you make your way towards San Marcos. Right side of your screen is a drive as you hop onto the 15. Things are also rolling smooth in and out of downtown. This is a drive towards downtown, passing Old Town Avenue, coming in from the Point Loma area. We're still keeping our eye on this crash in the North County in the Center Divide out in Escondido. This is on the 15 South at Gopher Canyon. It could slow things down a little bit as you're making your way in from, let's say, Bonsall, Rainbow, Fallbrook, even Temecula. Right now, though, it looks all in the green around that area, meaning that we're at average speed, so that's good news. All right, pulling up those travel times, anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes to get you northbound in from Chula Vista National City this morning. Average speeds about 65 to 11 minutes on the 5 and the 15, and from Oceanside and Escondido, full span of the 78, about a 15-minute ride. All right, 6:13 is the time on your Friday, and here's a look at those border wait times, about an hour 15 to get you across from San Ysidro's port of entry. A little bit better, but not by much, about an hour or so crossing in from Otay Mesa at last check. Back drive in from Escondido as you make your way westbound towards San Marcos. And this is the 5 in both directions right at Old Town Avenue. In fact, this is where Chopper 8 was just flying over. All right, let's go ahead and zoom on into this crash that we're still tracking. Thankfully, it's not causing any major slowing. So if you're traveling on the 50, 10 to 15 minutes right now, headed north in from the South Bay, 15 in from San Ysidro, about a 10-minute ride in from the 54 shooting up to the 8. Back to you guys. To call Friday light out there. We're still tracking an incident on the 15. It looks like it has cleared. In fact, the icon disappeared, but you may see some slowing of tire tread in the 2 right lanes, and Caltrans actually had to run traffic brake to get that tread out of the lane. This is in Claremont Mesa on the 805 right before you hit the 52. All right, let's go ahead and give you a live look outside. This is the 52 in both directions right at the 125. A little more frequently this morning for those headed northbound in from the 54 shooting up to the 8. It'll now take you about 12 minutes, an 18-minute drive, though. Still not too bad coming in from San Ysidro up to the 94 via the 805 north. And here are all those drives coming in from the East County headed west. 3 to 7 minutes on the 94 and the 8. About a 10-minute ride, full span of the 52 if you're making your way in from Santee towards the 15 connector. Back to you guys.
Now we're looking good. Vanessa?
Yeah, the Chihuahuas have been getting some love over the past couple of days. Such a cutie. 6:50 is the time on your Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Made it to the end of the work week. Things are starting to pick up as you make your way in from Escondido, headed westbound, passing Nordal. You can see that for yourself as a live camera there as you make your way into San Marcos. A little lighter, though, closer to the downtown metro area. This is the 5 in both directions right at Old Town Avenue. Looks like right side of your screen is the northbound drive as you head towards that 15 split. All right, travel is in pretty good shape. shape. Again, it could be worse. We've officially transitioned from the green to the yellow, meaning that we're seeing some light congestion out there. Tapping the brakes at about 45 miles per hour or so. It'll take you about 15 to 25 to get you northbound in from San Isidro, as well as the 54 connector, and under 5 minutes full span of the Coronado Bridge. Travel times to get you westbound in from the East County, 3 to 8 minutes on the 94 and the 8, and about a 10-minute ride in from Santee, headed west towards Tierra Santa. Back to you guys. Out there, not much to talk about. In fact, this is what it looks like on the 5 in both directions right at E Street as you make your way towards that 54 connector. And typically it's at a gridlock. Right now it's at pretty smooth sailing. So that's good news if you got to get somewhere on time, like a meeting, or maybe you got to catch a flight. Meanwhile, this is a little more east of that direction. This is the 805 as you make your way northbound, passing Division, headed towards Home Avenue. We are seeing some brake tapping in the North County. This is a 15 as you make your way southbound, passing Felicita and Citricado, coming in from the Escondido area, but travel doesn't look too bad. Right now we're in the yellow, indicating speeds of about 45 miles per hour or so. Back to you guys. Let's go ahead and start things off with a live look outside. This is the 5 in both directions right at E Street. Coming away from your street is a drive headed towards a 54 connector. There is some brake tapping. In fact, you could see that it's gridlocked once you get underneath a 54 freeway, making your way towards the mile of cars. Meanwhile, this is a drive on the 805 in both directions right at Division. This is that drive northbound as you make your way out of Chula Vista National City, headed north towards North Park. And this is the 8 right at Lake Murray Boulevard. That's that westbound drive that you see on the right of your screen, headed towards the College Avenue. All right, we are so far so good. In fact, I am struggling to find where it's gridlocked. In fact, we're just down to about mile per hour speeds coming in from Santee. Most of the slowing stops after Mast Avenue and starts to improve once you get up the summit. About 35 mile per hour speeds, meanwhile, coming in from La Mesa and Grossmont. Let's go ahead and pull up some of those travel times, as well as the 8. Back to you guys.
Vanessa,
7:30 on your Friday. We have made it to the end of the week, and it looks like drives aren't too bad out there. In fact, right now we're seeing some congestion making your way northward in from the South Bay, but of course it could be worse. We're also seeing some slowing building on the 8 West right at Lake Murray. This is that drive as you make your way in from the Grossmont, La Mesa area, headed west towards College. As we see what's happening in terms of speeds, we are stop and go coming in from East Street on the 5 as you make your way through the mile of cars. Most of the brake tapping on the 805, meanwhile, starts at about Imperial. CBS8.com/traffic is where you can find more updates. We'll be back after this. To Friday, folks, and yeah, as Evan's been mentioning, summer like heat continuing. The drives, though, rather cool. Hopefully you don't need the AC quite. Right at Division, right side of your screen is a drive headed north as you make your way towards North Park. You can see that there is a tiny bit of brake tapping. We're also seeing some slowing. Things are starting to pick up coming in from Lake Murray as you make your way west towards the College area into La Mesa. All right, let's go ahead and see what's happening on your freeways. Pulling up our traffic maps, 15 to 20 mile per hour speeds coming on the 5 and the 805 in from the South Bay to cross on over to Coronado. We're in really good shape, 50 mile per hour speeds in from Barrio Logan, headed towards the old toll booths. About 34 mile per hour speeds coming in from the North County, both on the 5 and the 15. And it looks like we have some sort of breakdown on the 52 right where it meets the 125. This is our problem area every morning coming in from Santee, so you can expect additional slowing. Right now, speeds crawling to about 10 miles per hour, but notice how the slowing flushes out pretty quick once you get up the summit, headed towards Tierra Santa. 28 mile per hour speeds, meanwhile, coming in from La Mesa. All right, about 20 to 25 minutes. That's the overall drive time to get you in from San Isidro, as well as the 54 up to the 8 and the 94, both on the 5 and the 805. Here are those travel times coming in from the East County, headed west, about 15 on the 125, all the way towards downtown, coming in from the College area towards that 805 connector, about 5 minutes, and under 15 on the 52. Remember, we have that breakdown happening on the 52 west right at the 125 in from Santee, and that may slow things down additionally as you make your way westbound this morning. Overall, under 20 minutes to get you southbound in from the North County this morning. Back to you guys. Learn on the 5, the 805 south, right before Adams Avenue. And then we have another one. This is going to cause a major bottleneck as you make your way in from Santee on the 52 at the 125. We'll be back after this. Near Encinitas Boulevard as you make your way south towards Solana Beach. We're also tracking a breakdown on the right lane, and this is on the 52 eastbound right before you hit Mission Gorge near the 125. That's slowing things down for folks headed out of Santee westbound up the Summit. 5 in both directions. Things flowing pretty nice this morning coming in from the South Bay. Same deal on the 805. We are seeing some minor brake tapping, but again, typically we are crawling through this whole direction coming in from National City headed northbound. And we're now starting to see a lot of cars here on the 8 West right at Lake Murray. In fact, it's pretty gridlocked as you make your way out of the La Mesa area headed towards College. Let's go ahead and pull up those travel times, 20 to 25 minutes. So we're officially in the red on the 5 North coming in from Chula Vista headed towards the 8. It'll take you overall about 20 minutes, average speeds 30 miles per hour. And if you're traveling in from the East County, remember we have that breakdown on the 52 right at the 125. That's likely going to cause additional slowing. Overall, about a 12-minute ride in from Santee towards Tierra Santa. Back to you guys. On a beach on the 5 North right before you hit Lomas Santa Fe. It's on the northbound end and it's causing slowing as you're making your way in from Del Mar headed north towards Solana Beach, eventually into Encinitas. We also have this crash. This is on the 78 right at Nordal, and this is going to slow things down for you if you're headed in from Escondido towards Nordal into San Marcos. In fact, you can see all of that brake tapping starting well before you hit the 15 split. Here's what it looks like on the 78. This is that westbound drive. This is not likely from that crash. This is just the regular slowing we see for this time of day. We're also seeing a crawl right now coming in from Fairmount as you make your way westbound on the 8 headed towards Mission Valley. All right, let's go ahead and pull up those travel times. We are still pretty slow and go, 6 to 9 minutes for those westbound drives on the 94 as well as the 8. Under 15, meanwhile, coming in travel times for you if you're headed inbound from either Oceanside or Escondido, anywhere between 13 to 15 minutes. Back to you guys. We are tracking a pretty serious crash on the 8 right at Waring Road involving 5 to 6 vehicles all the way from about La Mesa and Grossmont. This just popped up on the CAD about 10 minutes or so ago, so it's likely going to cause significant slowing. Warning, we'll be back after these messages. So the 3 left lanes, also known, so most of the backup is east of that direction. 8 minutes right now. Meanwhile, if you want to opt for the 94 to get around that, it's 8 minutes to downtown, or you could also opt for the 52, but that's also seeing its fair share of slowing from the 125 all the way to 15 out of Santee. Oceanside, this is out of the North County. We're in pretty good shape still, under 15 on the 5 and the 15, both out of Oceanside and Escondido. And here's what it looks like coming in from the South Bay. We're tapping the brakes at about 40 to nearly 50 mile per hour speeds, about 15 to 25 minutes to get you northbound in from the South Bay this morning. If you're traveling across to Coronado from downtown or Barrio Logan, you're looking at about a 5-minute ride, and we're tapping the brakes down to about 40 miles per hour. Back to you guys. To the end of the week, summer-like heat once again blanketed the region today, but don't hold your breath because it's not really going away once we enter the weekend. We're still going to remain hot for tomorrow. We'll take a closer look at tomorrow's highs and when we will finally notice some relief from these summer-like conditions. You are all having a beautiful day and finding ways to beat the heat. Maybe you're heading west towards the beaches. I wouldn't hold your breath when it comes to relief from the heat because we are still going to stick with this summer-like heat all the way through the weekend. At least the first half here all the way through the weekend. That cutoff low has been stalled offshore, finally moving inland by the time we get to the start of next week. That's going to provide some cooler air enhancing onshore flow for us here in Southern California. Then we'll have a secondary storm system moving on in Thursday. And then we have a third one after that. And that one by next weekend could bring us some rain. As of right now, though, we're looking to be well above normal by the time we get to Monday and Tuesday, but 70s will be much more comfortable. For the coastal areas, noticeable cooling by the time we get to Monday. We'll be in the 60s. That's your average for the coast and beach areas by the time we hit next week. For the mountains, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's going to be very warm, so make sure that you're dressing appropriately. Light, loose colored clothing. Once we get to the evening hours, though, Saturday and Sunday nights, it is going to be chilly. So despite very warm days, the temperatures will plummet once we get to the evening hours. The desert areas will be hitting highs near that century-degree mark. And then we're back in the 80s, dropping about 15 or so degrees by the time we get to the middle of next week.
Feels